Nairobi, the bustling capital of Kenya, is renowned for its vibrant culture, economic opportunities, and stunning wildlife. Standing tall among African giants, Nairobi shows the best of itself, enjoying the glory of its moniker, the city in the sun. However, beneath the surface, the city is grappling with an escalating issue that threatens its environmental health and livability: waste management challenges. With a growing population and urbanization, the city struggles to manage the ever-increasing amount of waste generated daily, effectively. This is now the norm in many neighborhoods: raw sewage flowing freely, and mountains of garbage are an eyesore that many residents must put up with daily, and waste that lies uncollected for days. Water waste. Waste management is one of the greatest challenges that cities face, because as populations continue to grow, so does the amount of waste generated. Nairobi at the moment produces about 2,500 tons of waste per day, and the county estimates that by 2030, this waste will have risen to about 4,000 tons per day. But the sad part is, this waste, it leaves your house in bags like this, but less than 50% of it is recycled. And what happens is that the rest of it ends up in landfills. And some of these landfills are in residential areas. For example, we're in South Bay, a residential area, and this is a waste collection site.
I walk to Dandora and the stench of rotting garbage is a daily bread for my lives. Heaps upon heaps of mounting garbage forms a barricade to whatever horizon we once had. Litre upon litre line up doorsteps. Sewer upon sewer slither its way into my water bodies. My water is also polluted.
Matakataka ya Nairobi mzima yanaletwa hapa kwetu. Na sisi tumejaribu kupiga kelele, tumejaribu kuandamana, tumekwenda mpaka kwa wahusika. Sasa sisi huku hata barabara Modhiora Road imepotea, Salim Road imepotea. Saa hii ndio barabara nyingine inatengenezwa hapo, lakini bado matakataka wanaleta kama kwanza, ndio sasa imekuwa mingi.
Issue ya dump site imekuwa kitonda sugu kwa maisha na wakazi ambao wanakaa eneo hiyo ya dump site. Wakitaka kutengeneza chakula, mgeni wa kwanza ni inzi. Everywhere. Walisema wataanza kupuliza madawa ya kuzuia inzi, lakini hiyo ilikuwa ni kuongea tu. People are suffering. Wale watu wanaishi karibu na dump site wanaumia. Na tunaomba serikali popote ambapo walipo, tafadhali kwa hisani mjitokeze msaidie hao watu. Sasa ugonjwa ya cancer surrounding, people are being affected by cancer diseases because of inhale hiyo harufu chafu na mazingira chafu, ugonjwa wa typhoid. Watoto wakitibiwa saa hizi, unatibu hii ugonjwa inarudi hii ingine. Wakiwazuia usiende kuchukua hiyo, wasiingie kwa hizo madam side, watoto tayari wataikuwa wameingia wakati yoyote tu. Wanaokota chakula, wanaokota hizo vitu wastage, hata kama vitu zenye zimetumiwa na watu wakubwa wanatumia, unaona wanavurisa kama wanafikiria ni balloons. Those are the issues. Hizo ndio vitu ziko kwa ground hapo ukienda kwa dump site.
Tunataka kulalamika kuhusu takataka inayomwagwa hapa karibu na boma zetu. Inatudhuru sana. Kwanza sisi wamama tunateseka sana, watoto kufungana vifua juu ya harufu, wakati mwingine wakichoma hiyo takataka moshi inaingia mpaka kwa nyumba, inzi. Kwa hivyo tuko na shida kubwa sana. Tena juu ya vijana wanakaa hapa karibu na hii takataka, hakuna security. Kama sisi wamama tukifua nguo huwezi toka kwa boma, lazima ukae hapo mpaka nguo zako zikauke. Huwezi hata kiatu nje, wanabeba.
Mimi kama Christopher nilijitolea wakati moja kupikania hapa mahali na hii kuwezekana. Na mpaka sasa walituambia wanachenga ukuta, waweke miti ndani na wakue wanatibu watu kwa kila wiki. Na kwa sasa matokeo yenye tumekuwa tukiona ni watu kukufa na mifuko ya watu kukufa.
I fear for my environment, I fear for my people, and I fear for my life.
The amount of waste generated in Nairobi is primarily driven by consumerism, industrialization, and inadequate recycling infrastructure. In many parts of the world, waste management is the responsibility of the urban authorities. The effectiveness and sustainability of urban services can be judged by how well the authorities manage the waste.
Na hii kitu tumejaribu kuongea na wakubwa, governors, MP, hawafuatilii. Sasa hatujui ni shida gani ya hii maboko.
One of the core challenges facing Nairobi's waste management system is the culture of the people who don't see waste management as their responsibility. It is not uncommon to see residents littering on the streets or find landlords who release raw sewage onto the roads or into the adjacent properties. Nairobi also grapples with a thriving informal waste sector characterized by waste pickers who salvage recyclable material from landfills and dump sites. While these individuals play a crucial role in reducing waste and promoting recycling, their work is often unregulated and exposes them to health and safety risks. The informal waste sector highlights the need for a structured and inclusive approach to waste management. On Climate Hackers, we meet and speak to those providing solutions to the city's waste challenges.
Climate Hackers in association with Equity.
Waste is inevitable in a fast-moving world. We generate waste every day in our homes, but we don't really give much attention to what happens to that waste after we generate it, and then it piles up and piles up and piles up and starts to cause a problem. So as the world looks at sustainability and environmental awareness and climate change, what happens to this waste? So we are in Nairobi industrial area to talk to a company that takes this waste from you, and then he'll tell us what exactly he does with it. This is Zoa Taka in industrial area Nairobi. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
What do you do here exactly?
We are primarily waste managers. What that means is waste being produced has to be managed. That means we have to take care of it from the primary point of production.
That's in the home or wherever.
All through its life cycle, up until the point whereby it can either be recovered, recycled, if not the least bit, have it disposed in a county government designated landfill.
As I look around, I see different kinds of things. We've got a pile here that looks very organic.
Yes.
I see some styrofoam there,
yes,
and
yes,
some bunches of plastic and cardboard.
Yeah.
How do you decide what to be recovered and what to be recycled?
So the decision is not necessarily mine, it's because this waste comes in different fractions and different characteristics. And the fact that they are in the same environment, that is what leads to their level of contamination. So what we do is we try and separate them first and foremost into characters that are of like, that do not contaminate one another. So paper cannot contaminate paper. Organic waste cannot contaminate organic waste. But organic waste will contaminate paper. Largely because it has some wetness around it, isn't it? There progressively it reduces its value and its ability to be recovered. Or even used by the people who would segregate, or why we recover is such that we can also be able to transfer this particular waste fraction to its own intended recycler or persons who can be able to add value to that particular waste.
So when the trash comes to you in a bag, like those black ones, how long does it take you to segregate it and determine what is usable and what is not?
Okay, the separation aspect already starts from the primary point of production. So we do have markets where we are able to give clients multiple containment systems. These are separate bags, one that can contain the organic waste and the one that can contain inorganic waste, to first and foremost reduce the level of contamination. With that, once it's transported to our facility here, then we are able to recover about 60% of whatever it is that we are collecting. Like you can see here, we have some PET bottles. So this bottle, if you can see, the level of contamination or whatever has contaminated this is largely organic waste.
Yes.
But if we had this bottle in a bag that had absolutely no organic waste, then it would have been less contaminated. Vis-a-vis whoever is coming to collect this for value proposition or for value addition doesn't have to incur any extra cost of cleaning it up. That means then its value as it is right now is not as high as if it came straight without any of this.
So by putting these bottles in this gunia here, you have recovered?
Yes.
That's what you call recovery?
Now this is recovered.
Okay.
So all we're waiting for it is to accumulate into larger quantities. And then we have recycling partners who will be able to come and collect and go and add value to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I see you have a bunch of people working here to do the recovery.
Yes.
So when you bring all the waste, this is the point where they start?
Yes. So after collection, this is our primary point of consolidation. It's called a material recovery facility. Strategically based within industrial area, which gives us a 10-kilometer radius of most of where our clients who produce waste will be. We weigh all our trucks immediately they come in. Then we are able to establish that we are collecting 100 tons per day of integrated solid municipal waste.
And when you collect this 100 tons, how much of it is recovered or recycled?
So we're able to do 60% of that, largely because we have an efficient system of waste recyclers or recoverers here, who actually form part of the community where we are actually situated. You'll notice that most of the people we've employed are women.
Are women, yes.
That is intentional. You know, women, like you had the CS of Environment state the other day that the women are the carers and natural caregivers, isn't it?
Yes.
We employ more of the women here is because they're very, very articulate in terms of their collection process. They're very, very keen in terms of how they are able to pick and collect this waste.
Now, the 40% that cannot be recovered or recycled, what happens to it?
So this 40% has to, unfortunately, is what we call residual waste. So this waste has to be transported now to the county government designated landfill, which is in Pandora. Okay. And that is where it ends up.
What kind of waste would that be?
So it's one that has such high levels of contamination that no recycler can be able to add any value to it. So it could even be still plastic, which even if you take it to a recycler, is so contaminated that even the cleaning process would not necessarily get it to its reusable value.
You know, waste and landfills, once you have a lot of waste in one place, there's always the emissions that come about, and even the pollution in terms of the quality of air that people breathe. How are you addressing that in this area?
So there's one thing that we have to understand. Business and the environment have to coexist. So what we are doing here is trying to mitigate the effects. And that is why we are, instead of taking this waste directly to the landfill, where we are here, we are trying to recover and reduce it. Instead of transferring the problem from all waste producers and taking it directly to the dump site, we bring it here first, reduce whatever is recyclable or recoverable. Then only what is not recyclable is what we transfer onwards to the dump site. With that, automatically, we have reduced the impact, long-term effect.
Do you have maybe plans to scale up your capacity? You said you only handle 100 tons a day.
Yes.
Your plans to scale it up?
So this facility, which we were ably funded by Equity Bank to set up, can handle 300 tons a day. So ideally, we are a third of our capacity. And of course, we'll be looking back to the bank after financing us for the facility. Like I mentioned, this is not very efficient. If we are to be more efficient, we need to mechanize this process. And we've been having conversations with the Equity Bank on how we can then now equip this place mechanically to make this process more efficient, to reduce the quantity of residual waste that we are onwardly transferring. Because waste is very unique. It needs to be handled immediately it's been produced. The longer it stays contaminated, the longer it stays untreated, the less value you'll be able to derive from it.
Climate Hackers in association with Equity.
Methane gas contributes about 9% of total greenhouse gas emissions and a very big contributor to global warming. But most times when we talk about methane gas, we talk about it in the context of livestock. But did you know that human waste also produces methane? Now, wastewater management in the context of methane is a very difficult thing for many countries to do. And in fact, a lot of countries, when they submitted their climate action plans, also known as nationally determined contributions to the UN and the UN climate change, they included plans of managing wastewater. Now, we are in parts of Nairobi, also known as Karen End, but people call it Karinde, where we're about to talk to a company that is treating this wastewater, not only reducing the methane emissions, but also making the waste easily manageable. Hi, Mr. Betts.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for welcoming us here.
Karibu sana.
Tell us a little bit about what's happening here. I can see we are in front of a septic tank.
Yes, this building generates almost 20,000 of wastewater every day, and it becomes a menace to manage this wastewater.
Talk to us a little bit about how this recycling happens. So the waste comes in and then does it separate?
Well, what you're seeing here is some two pipes that brings this water. So these two chambers acts as a collection tank. So before it goes into the treatment plant. So basically what you'll be seeing is wastewater that is from the. I'll be collecting this wastewater so I can be able to see. You can be able to see how it looks like and how it smells before it goes into the treatment process.
Okay, so this is the raw.
This is the raw.
It's raw form.
But now this one even is not really so much of raw because there is another collection kind of a screen that screens off these solids before it comes here. So the second tank. So what you're seeing is that
this one doesn't smell as much as that.
Yes, you can get now some smell coming from this tank. You can see there is a pump there.
Yes.
So this pump transfers this wastewater into the reaction tank. So from here we transfer this water. So we collect here. So when they are using, I told you that they are using 20,000 liters. So this is a sequenced reactor. Process. So when the water is coming, we need a place to hold it before we transfer it back to the treatment plant. So the next stage, these are aeration pumps. So there's one aerator. This treatment plant has two aerators. So basically what you're seeing right now is that we are aerating. We are sucking air from outside and then injecting it into the tank. So the oxygen that is required here is for to be chemically oxidize the chemicals that are present in the water, and also to provide oxygen for bacteria to be able to break down the organic matter.
Okay. Now I'm curious to see the color of the water when it comes in and the color it is when it leaves.
When it leaves. Oh, so you can see it's blackish here.
Yeah.
And it is smelly.
Yes, it smells.
Yeah. So you can see the water is black in color. So by the time it gets into the system, it's black. But by the time we are through with the system, let me collect so that people can be able to see it.
Oh, it's not outstanding.
So let me collect here so that you see the difference. So this is water that has been treated.
Yeah, it looks cleaner.
It looks cleaner.
And does not smell.
Yes, and there's no smell. So currently, because it's aerating, yeah, you can see it's aerating. So you're seeing also there is a lot of suspended.
Yes.
But once there's the treatment cycle is that we let this water to settle down. Once it settles down, you have clearer water. Yeah, so we give it 1 hour after the treatment process, we give it 1 hour. So it settles down. Then what we discharge now is clean water. But you can see.
And how long does the whole process take?
So a cycle takes 3 hours. 3 hours. It depends. Mostly it depends on the solids. We time the system in a way that depending on the level of contamination that we are getting this water. So if it has high BOD, we will increase from 3 to 6 hours. So the treatment cycle starts with feeding, and then there's this aeration, and then there is decanting, and then there's discharge. So we feed them in batches. So up there, you can see that is the control panel. That is what controls these processes. So I think we can go close. Probably I can be able to.
And it's electricity?
It is electricity, but it is the thing is that wastewater treatment has a cost. We cannot run away from the aspect that it will cost us some money to treat the wastewater. But compared now, when we do cost-benefit analysis, in terms of what are the options of treating, either put it into the sewer line, either put this treatment plant, or I exhaust.
So this client never has to use an exhauster?
He never has to use an exhauster, because now his system won't fill up. So the only thing that we normally do is that annually we do something called desludging, because there are things that are biodegradable, the others that are not biodegradable. So at the end of the year now we are cleaning the sludge, cleaning maybe clothes, plastics that found itself into the treatment plant. Then now we give it to central sewerage treatment system, who have now the handling capacity to do solid recovery.
So you work with the central sewer system, the government system?
Yes, we work with the government systems. So at the end of the day, we clean up, we take the sludge for sludge management.
Suppose I wanted to do, like I have, here we can see there's a home right next to us.
Yes.
There's just one person living there.
Yes.
And then I need to handle my waste. Would it be economical for me to do it on my a single home, or you need a whole entire apartment block?
It doesn't have to be this big. We have it in smaller versions for domestics, and it is quite economical. I can tell you is that the people that have put in our systems and they are recycling their wastewater for their lawn and gardens, they've seen great benefits.
The poor management of waste has significant environmental and health consequences. Improperly disposed of waste contaminates the soil and water sources, leading to soil degradation and waste pollution. This, in turn, affects the citizens' health and the environment's overall well-being. Addressing waste management challenges in the city requires a multifaceted approach that brings all stakeholders on board.
We're already in conversations with the Kenya Association of Manufacturers to see how we can be able to consolidate their members to be able to contract compliant waste handlers such as ourselves, such that then they'll be able to have an audit of the waste that they're generating.
Be able to track it.
Exactly, and you'll be able to give them feedback on the quantities and the value propositions that we are generating from the waste that they're producing. There is environmental sustainability curricula that has been developed or is being developed to be inducted, because rightfully this is a cultural issue. We are not cultured to be responsible, like I have said, clearly like what you have seen. But with time and with the right resources directed towards sensitization, I think our culture is going to change.
As a way forward, cities need to invest in an effective waste collection and disposal infrastructure, which includes recycling facilities. Traditionally, Kenya has often disposed of its waste through landfills and burning, without a proper collection structure in place. The Dandora dump site, for instance, remains the lifeline of Nairobi, but with talks of the landfill having reached capacity years ago, no alternatives have been provided yet. But as the city works out a formula on the best way to manage its waste, what is needed most is a shift in the mindset of the city residents to adopt a recycling mentality at home and be mindful of how individual waste is disposed of.
Over the years, there have been attempts to streamline garbage collection in the city by trying to have the residents ensure that the garbage that they produce is sorted at source, so that as much of it is recycled as possible. But most of these efforts have not borne any fruit. So the government is trying something new and has put in place an extended user responsibility law, which will compel this sorting at source and also compel manufacturers to track the waste generated from their product to ensure that it is either properly disposed of, reused, or recycled. But in the meantime, sorting centers such as this one here across the city are trying to provide some kind of solution in order to reduce the amount of waste that ends up in landfills by collecting it, sorting it, recycling it. But of course, the permanent solution would be what to do even with the waste at the landfills. And there were talks of generating electricity with this waste, particularly the Dandora dump site. But Nairobians still wait to see if such talks will ever bear fruit. That's all for Earthwise tonight. My name is Zana Bondati. See you again next week.